Lord of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. Beyond sight. Beyond sight.
Welcome to another episode of Sight Beyond Sight. This is our In Search of Horror edition. We're here with another week of trying to find a good horror movie, and we'll tell you opinions later. Today we're going to talk about The Vigil. I'm here with my sister again, and my co-host.
Yes, it's me.
And yeah, so I'll do a quick summary like I do every week, and then we talk about the movie. So basically, it's a Jewish-based horror film. Has a lot to do with the Jewish religion and folklore. Hasidic Jewish, yeah. And basically, this guy kind of lost his faith because and spoiler warning, by the way, he kind of lost his brother, so he has like some trauma, and he kind of stepped away from the church, but these people are asking him back to do this vigil overnight, and then he'll get paid money to pay his rent, whatever. Then he goes there and he thinks he's losing his mind because, you know,
let's slow down.
but it's a quick summary, and then we will break down the scenes. So he thinks he's losing his mind. He starts seeing things. Here and there, things happen. He figures out what he has to do because they give hints throughout the whole, like some parts of the movie, to kill this weird demon that's after him because it feeds on pain. So the guy who died that he's watching over in the vigil, the demon that messed with him is now messing with this guy because the main character, because he's broken, and he's in the house with an old lady because of course. And basically, yeah, that's the whole thing of the movie. Like, he's in this house fighting off a demon, basically.
So in the beginning, they just described to you what a vigil is. In the Jewish faith, they believe that you sit vigil over the dead body, which is displayed in the home. And when I say displayed, I just mean like it's basically on a gurney with a cloth wrapped over it. And
You forgot to turn your mic on.
Sorry.
That's funny.
That was your job.
You just seen her mouth moving. Didn't say much, but she was saying shit.
So they describe the vigil as part of the Jewish faith. It's someone who basically sits over the deceased overnight and prays over the body so that the body is protected by, say, evil spirits or demons or whatever. And usually it's a family member or a friend, or if they don't have any family or friends, they pay somebody to sit vigil, kind of like a professional. So this person, I forget his name already.
Oh, what the hell was his name? I don't know. I just kept thinking Shomer. Like,
Shomer.
Because that's what he was called as, like, the person as being a viewer.
Right. So basically it starts off where it's kind of like a weird flashback image of somebody pointing a gun at a woman in the woods, and he is made to shoot this woman. So you don't know who this is, who the woman is, or what the situation is. That's just the first image that you see. And then there's a group of friends who are sitting in an apartment, and it seems like some sort of I don't want to say it's like an AA meeting. It doesn't seem like that. It seems more like there's some sort of a group help kind of meeting. Yeah. Like they all have some sort of trauma. It seems like they've all have left the Hasidic Jewish community, and they're just supporting each other. So apparently this main character, he's kind of new to this situation. And he's obviously has some trauma, and he's taking some sort of medication for it, and they're trying to help him. He's having a hard time finding work because apparently after you leave the community,
they shun you or something, from what I believe. We could be totally wrong. We don't mean to be racist or religionist.
There's definitely a word for it. I just can't think of it right now.
Ignorant. How about just ignorant?
Yeah, ignorant.
But as they're leaving the meeting, there's someone from his community waiting for him at the bottom of, outside or whatever. And he says to him, listen, I know you need money, because that was one of the things that he talked about in his group, is how hard it is to find a job. And he's kind of faced with the decision of does he take his medication or does he eat for the day? My response is there's always ramen noodles.
Nah, but you can't eat. I think they were fasting. That's like part of their religion.
No. But I think he was saying that he can either afford his medication or he can
like
afford to eat.
this shit.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is you could always scrounge up 50 cents for a ramen noodle package.
You definitely can, but it's nasty as hell.
But it's sustenance.
Like, you ever looked at it, the one with the shrimp? The shrimp is like this big. Like, what the fuck is that?
I don't think that's a shrimp.
When you add water, it expands.
Like,
that's what?
That's some like sci-fi. That's what the astronauts eat.
Listen,
shit.
I've been broke before, and you just do what you got to do. Anyway, so
that's gonna gross me out all fucking day. An expanding shrimp.
Shit is crazy.
So the guy offers him to be a it's not a shomer. I forgot how he pronounces it.
A shalom.
Shalom. You gotta
shalom.
Shalom.
We're gonna sound so bad.
Oh my god, it's terrible. But he offers him money. He offers him like some like $300. They go back and forth over the price. He's gonna give him $400
for 5 hours.
For 5 hours to sit in the house. And I don't know about any of you. I would have taken it.
I would have taken it. Well, we'll get into it. Into a certain point. I would have went to that guy's house and beat the shit out of him.
Like, normally you go there $500. You could spend like probably 20, 30 with get a bottle. And you pass out when you're in the house. That's what you do. Like,
yeah.
But obviously he did not do this.
Burn the demon's face.
I mean, you got a little bit. You just it should be crazy.
Oh, come on. You know the trick with the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you need like 190 proof.
Yeah, if you drink that, your body's gonna die.
Yeah.
So he finally agrees because he obviously needs the money. He goes to the home and there's an old woman and he is told that the old woman has dementia and that she's not well and pretty much just ignore her. And the previous person who was supposed to sit over this body up and just left the house and said it was scary or whatever. He was nervous or whatever. That should have been a clue, but they just kind of brush over it like,
it's a horror movie.
Whatever.
Yes.
So he goes to the house and he's sitting there and he hears like weird noises, but this is the thing. He's taking medication. He's obviously has seen or has hallucinated in the past. So all the noises and things that he thinks he sees, he's taking it as like his psychosis. So he leaves a message with his therapist to basically say like he's seeing things. But before this, he's sitting in the chair. He's half asleep. And he starts to hear noises upstairs.
Yeah.
And then what happens, Nikki?
A fucking spider. Always. There's always a goddamn spider in horror movies. Stop
like
it.
A house spider. Honestly.
Jesus. No, that was a tarantula. That was like a baby tarantula.
He's being a baby.
That was thick as shit.
If
I would have saw that, I would have burned the house down.
It just made the noises.
It was brown and hairy, and it had hair on it. You could see the fibers. It was disgusting. And he didn't do nothing. Like he looked at it, and it was like, ooh.
A little shiver. Like
I would have got up and started stomping. Where the fuck is it? I would have left the house at that point.
I'm not gonna lie. Throughout this movie, he was kind of brave. I mean, he was kind of stupid, but he was kind of brave.
Yeah, he was.
You already break it down, like.
Well.
But I think most of it was because he kept
didn't
thinking
know
it was fake.
Fake, yeah.
True.
So there comes to a point where he goes to drink a cup of water. And this is what grossed me out. It wasn't so much like horror, but it grossed me out.
Wait. You're skipping a point.
Oh, yes.
So what he's doing is basically he has to pray over the body. The lady went upstairs. And he's in the kitchen living room where this body is. And besides the spider, like he falls asleep. He has a dream of his brother. He wakes up and then he see the body twitch a little bit first.
Yes, that he saw the hand move.
Yeah.
But then again, you got to remember, this is a non-embalmed body.
Yeah.
So it moves.
It twitches.
And it twitches. I mean, it's bound to happen because of rigor mortis and such like that. So then he starts to hear more noise, and he starts to investigate, and he sees something in the kitchen. And at first, see, the one thing with this movie, it's super dark. So sometimes it's hard to like
dark as in actual
things.
visual dark.
Yeah.
Not like dark as in, oh my God, like this is crazy.
Yeah. So,
emotionally.
So like he looks into the kitchen. At first, I thought, I'm like, what the hell's on the floor? It looks like a black towel. And then I was like, well, maybe it's like a spill on the floor. Like, what the hell is that? Until they do a close up and it's somebody's toe, like their big toe just scratching at the tile floor. Which at first I thought was weird.
All right. I mean, it's weird, but it's one of those. It was meant for the toenail coming off point.
Yes.
That was the whole visual for that part. Like,
yeah,
they try to have like its creepy, nasty moments, and it's like,
yeah, like it just it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't want to go for the typical, scratching the nails on the floor because you've seen that a million times. So I guess they were trying to be like, oh, let's do a toenail instead. I don't know, but it was kind of like that. Ugh, okay, fine. And the moment passes, and then he decides to get a cup of water, right?
Yeah.
After
After that happens, he gets the cup of water.
Yes, and he starts to drink, and then all of a sudden he looks down, and the cup of water is black, and he drops it, and he starts choking, and he pulls out what seems like a clump of hair or something.
Yeah. Was it hair, or was it just Nick trying to just be smart and say it's hair? Because I thought it was like blood in the cup. That's what fell, so it would be like more.
Well, what was in the
blood clot?
Like, a blood clot, or something like that. Because the way it came out, it was still like a blood.
I see what you're saying. A little viscerous.
Yeah, it was hair. It was hair.
Whatever it was kind of gross. And that moment gets kind of ended quickly when the old lady comes and says, basically tells him, you're not seeing things. Like what he's seeing is real. But when he looks down, it's just a cup of broken water on the floor. So he cleans that up, and she starts to tell him about her husband and how she drew her children away from the house because this was no place for children, yada, 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 like going on. And then she picks up a piece of the glass and squeezes it in her hands until it's all bloody. And he goes, oh, let me help you, blah, blah, blah. And she goes scampering upstairs. But before she does, she opens the basement door. Yeah. And what does he do?
Go in the basement.
Goes down the basement stairs.
She invited him down. I mean, that was the whole point. Like, it was.
It's kind of like when it's like when you follow a girl to a hotel room, she leaves the door open. Is that what that is?
And you just go in and you just hope for the best. At the end of the day.
You hope you don't get robbed.
So he goes down to the basement, and we were just saying the basements are creepy to begin with, but when a basement that doesn't have an apartment in it, when a basement has another door in the basement, for some reason that adds another level of creepiness.
Always,
I've had a basement like that when I lived in Westbury. It had the regular floor, then you go down as one more floor, and then it would go to where the boiler and shit was.
Yeah.
OD.
It's too much.
So he goes into this room, and of course a video is randomly playing because that's what they do, and it basically explains this boogeyman, and every culture has a boogeyman.
It's a mazak.
Yes, but every culture has a boogeyman, and I guess this is this culture's boogeyman.
Yeah, it's a demon.
So it basically explains that it attaches itself to a broken person, and if you do not burn its face, which is backwards, like it has like a backwards head on
supposedly, because apparently you can't see it in the movie because it's so visually dark.
Nah, they showed it with his head turned around.
Yeah, I didn't see it that good though.
But it was blurry as fuck.
It was like this, and then it was like the little turn, and then it went back. It was kind of.
Are you imagining stuff?
I don't know. Maybe it's like
But what happened was, in the video, you see the guy who is now deceased. He's the one talking in the video, and then his wife is behind him. And then all of a sudden you see the wife mouthing something, and she mouths it a couple of times, and the guy's looking. Already you know she's saying behind you because it's a fucking horror movie and they're predictable, and she's saying behind you.
Yeah.
So he figures it out. And after being told you need to burn its face, as soon as you see it, like the night that you see it before dawn, you have to burn its face. Otherwise, you're fucked for life. It's going to follow you forever. So instead of being prepared and finding something that like can be on fire, he decides to look behind himself. And of course it's there. And of course he freaks out. But then he goes upstairs like nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
He goes up the stairs. He receives a phone call. He thinks from his therapist. Leaves the fucking basement door open while he takes this phone call.
Yeah, I didn't just see a fucking monster come at me in the dark where a video's playing in the basement that nobody's in, and he's talking about a demon that follows you because you're a broken person. You know, I just leave the door open. Nothing's real.
Yeah. So he's talking on the phone, and he's talking to his therapist, yada yada. And then the therapist asks, "Well, what do you see?" And he's kind of clamoring on, and he finally says, "Well, was his head backwards?" And he was just like,
Yeah,
how did you know? And then he gets a call, and he said, "Hold on a second." And then the call was actually his
therapist.
So there's this whole like playing with the technology thing.
Yeah, but it was so predictable. You know that the way the guy was talking, the therapist, quote unquote, was talking to him on the phone. You know, it's not the fucking therapist.
Yeah.
Because again, it's just so predictable. It was just like, all right, that's not the therapist.
You didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just go on, and then
He did
the second call.
I didn't say that. I didn't hear you say
Do I have to call out everything when we watch
I want to
fucking
hear
movie?
you call it out, Mr. Expert.
All right.
Mr. Smart movie
I'm gonna
man.
call out, and I'm gonna hit him across the fucking face or something. You see that? I told you. But no, it's very predictable. But go ahead.
So, but they play that shtick twice. It's like you would have thought that he would have learned the first time.
Yeah.
But the second time,
Yeah.
it was dumb.
But you know why?
Wait,
It was
the one with the
FaceTime.
FaceTime?
Yes.
So wait, his girl didn't die? Like that was fake? I thought
That
his
was
girl
fake.
died.
That wasn't his
What?
girl.
That wasn't his girl.
That was
a demon.
That was the demon.
But the demon
was the
did
one-
grab her.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the girl was
But
on
no.
the tank.
But it was all
but
to
it was-
scare him.
Yeah.
the fuck with his
The
head.
video was
Ah,
fake. Yeah.
Damn, this movie's getting me more. I was like, oh, the bitch died.
No. She was
no
speaking-
one died in this movie.
How would you think that she died when she was talking to him as if he knew him? Like, oh, you fucking regret it. You didn't save
I
your
didn't hear
brother.
everything that she said. Honestly, I got zoned her out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is
So
the
he
thing
wasn't
too.
even paying
Wait,
attention.
time out. This is the thing too, because some of it's in Hebrew.
Yes.
There's subtitles. So these two are illiterate fucks, and
I
don't
can read,
everything.
God damn it! I read comic books
just-
all the
not to-
time.
Choose not
You read
to. So they miss
And
subtext.
anime.
Oh,
And
really?
anime.
I read books.
Do you know how
books.
fast you got to read sometimes with anime?
Nah, definitely. But nah, it did turn like half on and off, and then like I like to try to see if I understand the language without reading it.
Are you
Yeah,
retarded?
I-
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
retarded
it.
like that. Like I'm better.
I'm gonna figure this out.
Like I do that with Spanish.
Oh.
So, like I don't speak fluent Spanish. I don't understand Spanish that well, but I will watch it without subtitles to see what I can catch
Yeah.
because that's the easiest way to learn.
But that's different. You
Yes.
grew up in a Spanish home, so
yeah, but they don't
it's-
speak Spanish that often. You'd be surprised. Only when they're trying to hide
I
shit.
get that, but
Like-
but-
But you ever that ever happened to you and you know what they're saying, they
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that you don't know
Oh,
what they're
yeah.
saying. That happens.
So
I
much
love
fun.
it. I love it.
oh, and we did find out idiot spelled in Hebrew. It's spelled idiot, but it means silly. And what was the other one that we found out? That something else.
Oh, I know what you're. Damn, I forgot.
Oh, damn
It
it.
had like an A.
A with a little thing over it.
And then I forgot what the next word was, and I forgot what I meant too. So fuck myself.
Yeah, you don't know Hebrew.
That
right?
was pointless.
But
okay, regardless.
idiots in Hebrew means silly. So
Yeah.
Don't ever get offended.
So the old lady comes back down and tells him he can never leave. You know, she basically says, so you saw what you saw, you can never leave here. And he was like, fuck that, I'm out. And he runs out of the house. He tells her that he's going to go to the person who brought him there and get help. And then as soon as he leaves, his wrist starts to twist in all kinds of clicky weird ways, and his like basically he starts to like twist up, and his bones are not working properly, and he doesn't feel better until he's back at the house. And this is the funny part because the house has stairs. So you know how much Andrew loves stairs in horror movies.
It's the whole point of having stairs in a movie.
So somebody didn't fall down the stairs, but he fell down the steps when he was walking back up to the house. The thing was at the top of the steps and basically pushes him down the steps and he smashes his head. Yeah. And at that point, you see more of his flashback of what happens to his brother. So apparently him and his brother are walking through the city because this takes place in New York and probably
Brooklyn, most likely.
I'll
be the racist one. Okay.
No, but most likely because that's where their community is. And these people start harassing his little brother and actually cut off one of his locks, which is like a huge disrespect.
That is bad disrespectful.
And the little boy gets loose but runs into the street and gets hit by a car. And the guy feels
both ways.
Nobody. Oh. He's also scared because I mean, when you got a guy with a knife and he cuts off your locks, who knows what else they got?
Not even just that. It was 3 guys.
It was 3 guys, and like he didn't help his brother at all because he was so terrified that he would probably get killed trying to help him.
I just want to say, drive through one of those Brooklyn neighborhoods, see if they actually look both ways. You'll see them bopping with their big ass hat and curl, just like, I don't care, this is my street.
Hit me, fucker.
We're getting racist now.
I didn't want to be racist, but that's a fact. Like, I know anybody who's been out there, you've done seen it. Like,
it's like that in Rockaway too. Yeah, like certain parts of Rockaway is like that. Anyway,
so we got 2 racists on the podcast here. No, I'm just playing.
So anyway, he goes back into the house. And things get kind of weird from there. He FaceTimes with this girl that he is trying to start to date. And, you know, he kind of is trying to tell her that he is scared and this and that. And then all of a sudden she turns around and says, like, you left him and how dare you? And she starts basically cursing him out. And then you see this thing reach. See what Nikki said would have been the cool thing.
Wait, just say the scene.
Okay, so the scene is that she's talking to him and she's like basically telling him what a piece of shit he is. And then you see fingers kind of because the creature has like, I don't know, like 8 fingers on each hand.
Yeah, but they're like long, like what are those vegetables? Zucchinis or whatever? They look like zucchini fingers.
So she kind of gets wrapped around her face and pulled back.
Yeah, and then he was like, oh no. But I said they missed an opportunity, which would have been cool in a creepy way. Like, you know, it's a fake phone call because we already had it in the movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, he FaceTimed this girl and you're either going to see something in the background or she's not going to be who she says. Since the demon's supposed to have a turned face, like a turned head, they should have done it where she's like turning her head either slow or fast, or even if that like, you know, clicky thing until her fucking head's, you know, all the way turned around, which would have been kind of cool, like a cool visual, but it was just and darkness.
Yeah. So then he finally musters up the courage to go upstairs and he finds the old woman sitting in her room. And for some reason, it's surrounded by like mannequin heads with wigs. I don't know why. It's just a random image.
It's an old creepy lady. And in every horror movie, there has to be dolls or
old people do have dolls like that. Like coming from my work experience, they have that. And surprisingly, old people do wear wigs. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, wigs I can understand, but I'm just
not
saying,
all of them are bald. Like the one that was wearing a wig that I seen, she wasn't bald. She just wanted different color hair.
Okay.
You would think she was in her 20s. Like,
old people be frisky.
And I'm not going into that. So
how many did you walk in on?
I almost walked in on one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not a good sight. Yeah. Burn your irises for that shit.
So anyway, so I forgot to mention before he goes upstairs. I'm sorry, I forgot this part. But the body's gone. The body is gone. So that's why he goes upstairs and he asks where Mr. So-and-so is. I forget his name.
The body that he's supposed to be watching over.
Yes. And she's like, oh, he's down the hall. But before you go, here are these things to help you. And she gives him this case that has, and now
the Jewish demon fighting kit.
He turned into fucking Rambo. He really did turn into Rambo.
Yeah, he put something over his arm, put something over his head. We had to figure out what that is because obviously we're not Jewish, so we don't know any of that.
Right.
Because like we know that if it was like Christian Catholic thing, it's just like the cross and the stupid little robe thing that the priest come time.
All right. Not everybody was that
or
robe thing.
or the cross and the holy water. So you know,
cross,
like okay,
right. So I'm not exactly sure what he kind of wrapped this leather bound thing around his arm, and then he wrapped one around his head, and it had this like 2 square thing on top of it. I thought he was putting on a webcam or something.
That would have been awesome.
We're gonna catch this demon and put it live stream.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Was it Ghost Watchers or Ghost Hunters? Should be fucking hilarious.
And then she gives him like a candle, like one of those long candles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes down the hall, and again, this movie is visually very fucking dark, so you could barely see. But they were trying to do this thing with the hands in the wall thing, you know,
so, like if you remember Freddy Krueger, like those movies where when they're behind a wall and then it will stretch because it's obviously rubber.
Yeah.
And then you see people's hands. He was running down the hall, like he was walking down the hall, and the hall is kind of closing in on him because on both sides, like hands are trying to come through him.
Yeah, they're reaching out, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by it.
He's
walking
with a candle.
He's brave part. Like, yo, the dude put on his shit, mad tough.
Yeah,
that whole team was like, yeah, let's go.
I seriously thought he was about to like, you know, like do a little, you know.
Like when you think about like the way they explained like what you had to do to kill the shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't the hardest thing in the world to do. Like I would like fuck it, I'll get close to him and burn his face. Like it wasn't like you had to like stab a hard or do something like
or
certain or fight. Yeah, like you ain't really have to fight it.
But
you just have to burn it.
Yeah. But
so then so he finally sees this creature and the head is backwards. And then it slowly starts to turn and the head becomes his face. So I'm like, okay, so I guess that could be hard for some people to like, you're basically burning the image of yourself or, burning the bad part of yourself, I guess you can say. But if you hate yourself, then that's not a hard thing to do.
Maybe his therapist.
Do you understand what you're saying?
Yeah, his therapist probably put him in there.
Yeah.
That's the whole setup. That was a trickery. That's why the therapist calls him and was fucking with him and then calls him again.
That's why you say, yo, what you doing with my friend? I'll go.
Play the game on him so he could fucking fix himself. I need a therapist like that.
So that's the whole point is that the ghost fixed his trauma.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So that's
message.
Yeah. So what is that? Do.
Stop being broken, sucker. That's the whole thing.
Oh, what was the thing after G.I. Joe?
Is this regular G.I. Joe? Damn, I can't
those after school
PSA. The more you know type shit.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's essentially the end of the movie. He just literally puts the candle to his face like this.
Slowly.
No fighting, no nothing. He just burns his face.
Because the demon just stays there and lets him do it. Like, like, fuck it. I'm going to say what I think about the movie. I didn't like it. It's probably the better of the 3 we saw so far. No? Which one
I
you like
the
more?
First one. The one with the kid that was drawing the shit on the wall and shit. I like that one.
That was the second one, wasn't it?
That was the second one? All right, I like that one.
So last week's shit.
Everything else I ain't really fuck with.
Yeah.
So this one, I got to think about that one again. You know why? And I actually
and the happy ending is he goes and has coffee with the girl that he likes.
Oh yeah, so because he burns the demon and he does this like the power of Christ compels you, but instead he says let him go to the dead body. So very simple. The sun comes up, he beats the demon, he walks away out of the house. That's the end of the movie. The problem is, again, I thought the movie was very predictable. I wouldn't say slow paced. It didn't feel like it was slow.
No. It started like it, but then it speeded up a little bit.
I just think that visually could have been creepier. It was way too dark. I am a fan of like dark horror movies because I like the whole working with shadows. But if you can't even see the shadow, it's too fucking dark.
See, like I think the movie that did it best, and the movie that I'm about to say, I think started out as a like little YouTube video that someone just took and ran with it. But that Lights Out movie, it was so short, but I was like, they did smart things in the movie, and they work with that lights on, lights off. The only stupid thing was the beginning when the lady is going up, down, up. Like, you know, if you did it once and you're like, what the fuck? Turn it back on, you turn it back off, and that thing is there. Pyong. But instead it was like click, 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 click. But anyway, that's another movie. But I see what you're saying. Like, I don't mind darkness and shadows and stuff like that either. But we need to see what the fuck is happening in the shadows instead of being like, did something happen? Like, why is he running? Did he fall? Or
yeah. And I think that was a big part of the movie. And I think this is the other problem with not being able to see things in the theater. Maybe we would have had a different feeling with the sound being around us, and maybe things would have been different if we were able to see it in the theater. But unfortunately, we don't have that privilege right now.
And if there was a good copy.
And
if you know what I mean.
It wasn't a terrible copy.
No. I'm just saying.
No, it looked like a bootleg. Like, it looked like a bootleg you would buy from someone in the city that has curly sideburns.
Watch this movie.
Like, honestly, like, the first thing I was thinking, I was just like, this is probably the first movie I've seen that was all Jewish. Like,
which is all right. It's different. It was just that the movie wasn't that great.
But just like other movies, like, you know, that I don't know. I just feel like, what would we rate this one? What is our rating? 10.
Well, first of all, what did you think? Did you like it or not?
It could have been better. It wasn't. I'll put it this way: it wasn't campy to me. It was kind of an original story. I think if I would have known more of like the religious,
it would have made more sense.
A lot of things probably would have made more sense. It probably would have resonated a little bit better. But overall, it wasn't like, oh God, I want to fucking stab my eyes out. Like, it wasn't terrible like that. It was just not as entertaining. I'll put it that way. It's not as entertaining.
So what about you, Andrew?
It was all right. I mean, it had its little parts. I think I enjoyed the whole kill your fucking self-hate.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the only thing that resonated with me. Like, let's kill the fucking part that's broken. Yeah, like, I'm going to burn the part that's broken. I enjoyed that part.
It made sense. It made kind of the monster make a little sense, but it didn't give any real scary parts. It didn't give a lot. It was just more like a reflection of self. And then, boom, that was it.
Yeah, see, it's the same thing. I just feel like, again, watching, maybe this is my problem, watching so many, especially like low budget horror movies, is like you just see everything, like the clicking sound. Because every time they did, what I mean is like the like your, you know, arthritis, whatever. Thank you. But it's like you hear the sound all the time. You know what's gonna happen. Like when they focus on the background, something's gonna move in the background. And then I'll give this that it wasn't so many like jump at you scares like with the pop-up scares or whatever, but again, it was just so dark. Maybe it did, but and the ones they did, it was so dark, it was like I didn't see it. Like when he was in a basement and she's saying behind you. My problem is with these kind of things, it's kind of like, all right, you're going up stupidly. Well, stupidly he went down there, then stupidly he's going up to the screen
to see what
her mouth says. And then right away, once you figure it out, and he's going like, you know, like slowly moving. It was just like, I don't know. I never been in that situation, obviously. So it's just like, I got to think of like,
I hope not.
It's just one of those things where it's just like mentally, I think this is my problem. And I say it every week. I want a smart horror movie.
And you're gonna do all the dumb shit when none of these things actually happen to you.
Maybe,
that's the funniest shit
maybe. But the fact of the matter is, when you're watching a movie, I think it's more horrific and scary when you said like when you're thinking do this and that person does it and still gets hurt or dies.
Yeah, but how often do you actually see that?
All the fucking time. What are you talking about? Like, in horror movies?
That smart shit that you're saying.
Oh no, never. That's why I'm saying it would be scarier. Because every horror movie you see,
you know what they're gonna do up the stairs, maybe.
And that's a problem. So that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it. Say if he, in the beginning of the movie, he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and ran, and then he still died somehow. Like too late, and the guy chasing you.
But that's the problem of like reviewing shit in general. Like when you review something that you actually like, you're going to be nitpicky like this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like I could sit there and watch when I watch wrestling and be like, I know this is gonna happen. Like, no, you gotta take yourself out of being a fucking smart mark and just watch the shit and try to find it something
and
else.
Usually I can do that too, because I can watch a movie and still know what's gonna happen, but they need to make smart decisions also.
No, they do.
That's all I'm saying. It's kind of like
very nitpicky though.
Yeah, I know.
but how am I when it's just kind of like, we watch comic book movies a lot. You know the good guy is gonna win at the end, regardless of what the fuck happens. But it's how you do it. Yes. And that's all I'm asking. I'm not saying, like, hey, you know, every single decision needs to be smart.
Like at the end of a horror movie, they've done two things. They've done the good guy's gonna get away, right? Or they've done the life is pain and nobody ever wins, so they're gonna die anyway kind of thing. But that always leaves it to like a sequel and all this other bullshit. But it's the shit that happens in between that makes it interesting. It's like the choices they make.
Yeah.
It's how can you terrify me? Or how can you make it so that like my skin crawls?
No, I agree with that, because that's the point of watching a
that's
horror
what I'm
movie.
saying. Right. Whenever you say I'm stupid, you know, fucking people.
But no, you're just a fucking nitpicky bastard. Like, you watch it and then be like, I don't like that. It's like, nigga, that shit don't even matter. Like, the rest of the movie could be fine. And you'd be like, I don't like that one little scene that bothered me. And it ruined the whole fucking movie for you.
There are some times that happens though. Where it'll be like, okay, you just discredited like this whole
thing. Like, if one, and not saying, there are certain movies where it's like one thing that you just ruined the whole movie because now what was happening does not make any sense at all. But if I'm nitpicking, if we're doing a review podcast, why wouldn't I talk about the things I don't like? First of all, and then second of all, I'm not saying this movie was. I said it was. I think maybe one of the better ones that we've seen so far out of the three. Like, I know you like
suggestion. I don't know. Like,
I know you like the kid one.
That little kid one was actually not bad.
I think the kid one was a little bit better because at least the kid one had a little bit more creepy vibey to it, and I think that's what to me that's what I more look for. Like, what's gonna give me the heebie-jeebies a little bit? You know, what's gonna give me?
I wish I had my phone near me, because the reason why I didn't like that one as much is because I seen recently a movie almost exactly the same. I think it's called like He Wants to Play or something like that. And it's an imaginary friend. And the boy didn't know how to speak. Like, he had a problem. Like, he had like some kind of mental problem. So he spoke through a like little
what's his name?
Like a speak and spell kind of
thing. Almost like this movie, but it was like he fucked up his friends from school because they didn't like his mother.
Why didn't we watch that movie? That shit sounds amazing.
Because he watches so much damn movies that he fucking makes us watch shitty ones.
We'll watch it next one, so we could compare it to Z, because Z is the one he's talking about. But we'll watch that one next week.
But
so
regardless, okay, so we need to rate this one. Let's go back to this one.
No, let's go with him because he's gonna say like 9.
Why not? We're not gonna call it a 9 because I did not enjoy it. You enjoyed it more than me.
Yes.
I'm gonna say like a 5.
Okay. For me, what did I give Z? I wish I remembered what I gave Z. I think I gave Z like a 6 or a 7.
You gave Z a 7, and you gave the one before that a 7.
I was
lucky number 7.
No, I didn't. I definitely did not give the first one we watched a 7. That was not.
Maybe not.
No,
okay, I gotta. Could have swore it was, but okay.
I would say
7.
No, I would say a 6 because nothing in it creeped me out. But again, I give it that because I think if I would have known more about the culture, I think I would have been.
Honestly, maybe we watched YouTube videos on Sunday that were probably more creepier than what I just watched. Yeah. Like, I want to go to my car and want to look in the back seat.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Dude, the fact that you just said that, I had that exact same thought today. I had that exact same. I want to watch something that when I go to my car after I leave here at night, I want to look in my back seat and make sure there's not a motherfucker back there.
Yes.
And then when I drive home, I look through the rearview mirror to make sure that maybe they're not underneath the seat because it's a fucking ghost. Stupid shit.
Yeah. I'll rate this a 5 as well because I've seen it.
Yeah.
but because I seen things like this, but I seen it done better. The only reason why I say it's probably better than the movies we watch is because I felt like it was trying a little bit more. But like I said, we're gonna watch the movie that I was saying that was just like Z, so that's why I can't say Z was better. Because I seen the other movie, which I thought was personally better, and then watch it, and they're gonna say no, they hated it more, but it's all right. But yeah, I think it's like it's a low rating.
See, I don't watch horror movies without you guys because we have this podcast.
Now we do.
Oh, this was before.
Yeah, this was before the podcast. I didn't watch it in between.
You liar.
You're fucking cheating on us with this fucking.
Watching Stephen Hawking's kid get scared.
No, he wasn't like. He was just mentally ill. We should just do like a series of like kid horror movies, like watch the Babadook all over. Because that's another situation.
Babadook all over again. That movie was so annoying. That movie got on my nerves.
And the other one that you were telling me about, that we could have watched today also, I heard that movie was bad. I forgot what you named it.
Me?
Yeah, you sent me another one. Like, oh, if we don't watch this, we could watch this. Whatever. But maybe
might watch it next week. Who knows?
No, we're watching the one that I seen that they didn't see.
Okay,
so they could
watch that. Yeah.
And you already know right now. I'm calling it. He's gonna say Z was better. Just to be an asshole.
But who knows?
Just to be
I'm
an
gonna
ass.
find a movie myself. Watch.
Yes.
So the following week, I'm gonna find my own movie. I got 2 weeks to find a movie.
2 weeks, you find us a movie.
It's gonna be the shit.
Oh, all right. That's the fucking bet then. Not next week, but the following week. That's his movie.
My movie.
It's gonna be your movie. It better be fucking creepy, yo. We better be holding hands to our cars.
You better let me.
Wait a second. Are you walking me to my car? Your car?
I'm sleeping with the lights on.
He's walking us to both of our
Fuck
cars.
you. I'm locking the door and turning the lights on. I'm pouring salt by my door in my bed. So
sage out, fucking start.
I don't even have faith in him. He's gonna say some stupid shit.
Nah, you don't see. Watch. I'm gonna do some research.
Rude.
I got some time.
So rude.
I got YouTube. I got shit. I'm gonna find something.
He ain't gonna find.
And again, as always, if you guys have any suggestions,
please let us know.
Out.
Yeah, please. So
even if it's your own independent thing that you and your friends put together, if it's fucking creepy, send it to us.
I think I'll watch it, and I don't even like. If someone sent us a video of their horror movie, I wouldn't put a rating to it because obviously you can't. But I'll be like, yeah, I enjoyed it or not. Like I'll do a review on it.
That'd be actually kind of funny because I got the different graphics, like cheap graphics. Like the blood, and then you'd be like, see that. Fucking awesome. Please do that. I just want that for my own.
Yo, Angelo and his friends did their own like little vampire movie. That shit was awesome. I gotta dig that shit up.
But anyway, we're gonna cut this one off.
Yes.
And we will see us throughout the week. This week we got a couple things coming. Especially Friday, Falcon with the Soldier again, but we'll have it, ready for you on Saturday this time. I think Thursday is Invincible, if I'm not mistaken. So you're gonna get that on Friday. This is coming out tomorrow, which would be a Wednesday. So anyway, we got
NXT obviously tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah. And like, subscribe, follow, comment on all social media platters. I'm not gonna keep naming them every fucking
platform.
Episode.
It's not platters. It's not food, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
So I was gonna say something that says
you know what I meant. God damn you. So
a whole bunch of platters. Horror, wrestling, comics, whatever you want to eat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like the 12 cheeses.